Reverence universal in the royal courts of King David. Glory be unto our Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy One of creation. As Jah was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, Jah world without end. Selassie, Jah, Rastafari.
Sex tourism, a product of slavery, is not new to the Caribbean. Every year, over 80,000 middle-aged women flock to Jamaica to get their groove back in search of the big bamboo. They are not necessarily into long-term relationships, but many return regularly to their island boy who sport Rastafarian-style dreadlocks, bringing money and gifts like jewelry and designer sneakers, a practice called Renta Rasta.
Anytime you come on the beach, you'll find him. The same people every year. Things never change. It's excellent here. It's beautiful. Auntie, say hello.
Hello.
Hello to the camera, Auntie, and come back for me later. Come meet up later.
Yeah.
We meet up later, okay, Auntie?
I'm a woman of little words,
Yeah,
but definitely come to Jamaica. Goodbye. Let's go off. Have a good night.
In their home countries, these women may be stigmatized for having either illegitimate or casual relations with black men or younger men, or for having many sexual partners. The first recorded slaving voyage from the UK to West Africa was made in 1562 by Devon-born Captain John Hawkins, who captured 300 people from what is now Sierra Leone to be sold as slaves in the Caribbean. The profit he made from that voyage allowed him to get backing and approval for further slaving ventures from Queen Elizabeth I. In fact, Hawkins was knighted shortly after his second successful African venture. His coat of arms depicted the head of an African woman with a chain around her neck. Africa's loss of people through the slave trade therefore certainly enriched British society. Over the following centuries, the numbers of enslaved Africans carried by English ships to the Americas grew rapidly in response to rising demand for sugar in England and the spread of sugarcane cultivation to other English colonies in the West Indies, such as Jamaica. In its heyday during the late 18th century, Britain accounted for half of all the slaves transported across the Atlantic Ocean. The bulk of the trade was to the West Indies, Jamaica in particular amounting to more than 1.6 million souls.
I'm not a gigolo, but I'm a guy who loves women, you know? And so because if I meet a white girl from Germany or one from France, and I walk and she talk to me and she loves the respect and the culture of me as Rastafari, then a guy would see me and said, oh, maybe that's a gigolo. But at the same time, I wouldn't call it gigolo. I would call it a gallus. Because I'm a gallus. You understand me? And girls love me. And I don't love batty boy. I don't fucking ass here around here in Jamaica. You understand me? We love girls. Whether you're white, black, Indian, Chinese, we love girls.
There's some crazy people come down here in Jamaica. Like, for instance, from America, from all these places, yeah? A girl would come down here, 4 o'clock, for instance, in Manteca Bay. She reached in Negril, 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock roughly, yeah? And then, 7 o'clock on the beach, she will be giving a blowjob. you know. A day after, she will be fucking another man. And she probably come down here for 2 weeks. And for 2 weeks, one girl leave to visit Jamaica, and she will be fucking 5 men. So now you tell me.
Jamaica, one of the poorest countries in the Caribbean, welcomed 1.4 million tourists last year. Women who are considered too fat, too old, or too ugly to pull young, fit sexual partners in Chicago or Hamburg are also considered to be too fat, too old, or too ugly in Barcelona or Honolulu. Travel between and within affluent countries does not reposition the citizen on economic, gendered, or race hierarchies of power, but travel to Jamaica or other poor and indebted nations does. Karen, an Englishwoman from Devon, hometown of Captain Hawkins, the pioneer of the British slave trade, was unambiguous about why she traveled at least 3 times a year to Jamaica.
I'm not naive. I've been around the block. I come for sex. Of course the sun, but mostly the sex.
Even the working-class budget tourist from Europe, Canada, or the USA is in a position to spend about as much on a package holiday in the Caribbean as many locals will earn in a year. One night in an all-inclusive resort may cost $200 to $300, while a prostitute will earn $50 to $100 a night, and a Jamaican worker is paid just $80 per week.
Get I freedom, redemption, repatriation. You see, if we don't get freedom, redemption, repatriation, I just dead and moan in Reba and Babylon, you know. No flesh I go feel it, you know. You know, see, because when I skin up around you, so you see, if we as the Empress have to start the revolution.
Rastafari grew out of the darkest depression that the descendants of slaves in Jamaica had endured in the 1930s, a period of nationalism and economic and political upheaval. In the stench and crumbling shacks of zinc and cardboard that the tattered remnants of humanity built on the rotting garbage of Kingston. Out of this filth and slime arose the philosophy of the Rastafari faith, a pure sentiment without anger and full of love. Freedom of spirit, liberation from mental slavery, and freedom for Africa was its cry.
So, you know, we were a year before Columbus. You know, when Columbus came and saw, saw Indians with braids. Some of them were Rasta man who were on the beach, but him couldn't differentiate. Columbus couldn't differentiate between the Rasta man at the time and an Indian that had braids. Today, the Western world is what you call, they have the highest standard of living. But look at our standard of living, and we work so hard. What happened to us? We are in that human beings too. No. All we are asking the world for is the right, it's not begging, it's the right to return on their own vine and fig tree.
You know, see it, because it have run red in Babylon, and we not take no more talk around here, so we have to revolute. You know, see it, we have to bring forth the redemption, man. My grandmother now, and my soon turn great grandmother. I can't make me youth them come grow up in Babylon certain way. We want to go home to Africa, man. No. You know, see it. We want to go live Africa life, you know, see it.
From 1838 up to now, if democracy was going to give us human rights, we'd have received it already.
On November 2nd, 1930, Rastafari Makonnen was crowned King of Ethiopia as Haile Selassie I. Asserting to be the 225th descendant from King David, he traced his family back to King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, and proclaimed himself Emperor, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. God was finally real, and the Christian doctrine was no longer the monopoly of blonde and blue-eyed missionaries with headquarters in Rome. The Bible was studied, and any reference to Ethiopia now took on added significance.
It's not Selassie create this thing, not do this thing, no. It's more than that. It's something far, far, far behind that. Yeah, man. It's all just love, you know. Yeah, man. Rastafari, yeah, man. More love, more strength, and protection. Me is one Rasta who don't like believe. Then I'm not a believer, you know. I like to know, because I know it's reality. So when you know, you can speak. So me is not the type guy who believe in Selassie or those things. No, I'm a very simple, generous, you know, respect nature and open to people, and I do my best of my ability to help people when people is around, to share things and things like that. It's not all about money. They only want you for your labor, nothing else. Only for your labor. Nothing to do with the people, only about wealth, you know. For you, man, you could die right now. You have nothing to do with it. They drink champagne. When you die, drink champagne and smoke big cigar and laugh.
I had a glass of champagne or a bottle of champagne. What happened? I had only a few Heinekens. What I had for dinner, I had like Rasta pasta. Big woman, have kids, have her family. And she's a lecturer in a university in Canada, British Columbia, BC. And she invited me over. I met her family. I met her dad, her mom. She gave me money. Jam rock, that's all they wanted. You gotta jam in them the right way. And she said, where I had sex with her, no one never done it like that before. I gave her the best way, the Jamaican bamboo, like that. And she wanna get married, you know, with me.
Sex tourists want to feel loved or valued or cared for, or to feel beautiful and able, or to feel kind and generous. And they do not feel any of these things back home. As one 45-year-old white woman from Chicago said of Jamaican men,
"They are all liars and cheats."
American women come to Negril because they get what they don't get at home. A girl who no one looks at twice gets hit on all the time here. All these guys are paying her attention, telling her she's really beautiful, and they really want her.
They're obsessed with their dicks. That's all they think about. Just pussy and money and nothing else.
In Chicago, this could never happen. Here, it is like a secret, a fantasy, and then you go home.
We are trotting up to Zion with our Emperor Haile Selassie high. That passed. The government fight against we, the Rastafari brethren, terrible, and society ignore us, for they claim that we are false prophet, but we are no false prophet. We are one of the true sons and daughters of the Almighty Creator of Zion and earth, Jah Rastafari, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, the root and offspring of King David, who lived and reigned forever and ever. Jah world without end, Selah. We acknowledge the Almighty, so we become now not only mortal man, but we are immortal. No Rasta would say, I'm mortal. By the divine acceptation of the Almighty Rastafari. Naturality. When a white man like himself in England translate the Bible, but it is in other version. For King James never put everything within the 66. For him try to trick man. That's why I, the Rastafari brethren, declare that Rastafari, Haile Selassie, is the Almighty without any apology.
Hey Rastafari, Haile Selassie, Rastafari, it's the Almighty, yeah. Rastaman live positive.
That's the righteous way of living. Can't live for negative. Can we no inna them easy man schism. Rasta man live positive. That's the righteous way of living. Can't live for negative. Can we no join them ya wicked killing. It look to me like we no all remember God. They never the reason make the gun them get so bad. Say them lost them trust in the Trinity. Say black people soul gone right down to vanity. You have to be careful when you tried it in a this time. With them ya wicked brutal killing on the front line. King Selassie, Savior divine, and just the blessing make your sunshine. Rasta man live positive.
Ja, a Rastafari.
It's steady, right? Right there.
Everyone is Rasta, but they cut some here. I decide not to cut my own no more. True love, one heart, one aim, one destiny. Tribal, pan the rival, no worship idol, no by gal, neither die gal, neither gal. Use me tongue, wet now dry gal, Rasta living. I'm out.
Rastafari children, we are room. For a long time we come, them see we not run like that. We there, we born under the Son and the Father. We no praise no devil, neither Lucifer. We are one who life comfortable. Catch it on the double. When this I wanna hit a flow, tell them what time is it? Time to unite. Get on you, choose on your weapon. The whole name of destruction. Forward and fire and my actor.
To be what they wanted us to be. We are what we are. That's the way it's going to be. If you don't know now, get educated.
The meaning of Rastafari means the head creator.
Yes.
Once you seek Rastafari, you seek the Almighty Emperor Haile Selassie.
Yes.
If you seek the Almighty as a kid in this institution, Rastafari is the only one you can see, which is love, peace, and unity. The communication of Rastafari is to seek and know where your life is going. Rastafari must live the life as a natural man, eat of no meat, no fish, nothing that contains blood, because anything that with blood is dead. Well, you as a living temple walking must not used to be a cemetery. This is the temple that we have respect and we love it. So you know when you're living Rastafari, you have to show the honor and the respect of King Alpha and Queen Amigo. Queen Amigo is the mother of I and I creation. Yeah! Rastafari!
Right out in the world now, you find people that say they are Rastafari and they are not. They are wolf in sheep clothing, going around and fooling the people them and telling them about them love. Them have love, them know not God.
In 1914, Marcus Garvey demanded, "The time has come for the Negro to forget and cast behind him his hero worship and adoration of other races, and to start out immediately to create and emulate heroes of his own." Many Rastas believe that Selassie is in some way a reincarnation of Jesus, and that they, the Rastafari, are the true Israelites, treating themselves in effect as free citizens of Zion.
Those what you would call Jews, which is the Pharisees, never accept the divinity of the Christ, but they accept his humanity. But we, the Rastafari, brethren, said we accept both the divinity of Haile Selassie and his humanity, for he is the return Christ. So these Israelites who call themselves Israeli people in the land of Israel, they are not the original Israelite. They are the Israeli, the European Israeli.
So you have the Jewish people, and the Jewish people is not Jews. It's people pretending to be Jews. So they are Jewish, like girlish or boyish. So they were there. All fighting nations were there, holding hands because of the word of Rastafari, one love, and singing and praising, giving praises to the Most High.
When Haile Selassie visited Jamaica in 1966, over 100,000 Rastas from all over the island descended on Kingston Airport, hoping to see the man who they considered their god. Selassie died in 1975. Many Rastas believed that his death was a trick and that he would return to liberate his followers. Today, a few Rastas consider this a partial fulfillment of prophecy.
But the man said the whole of the love said, you see it? The man said, I never just find back the first love of Christ, Christ's true love. The man said, if you don't have love for your brother, you cannot say you love God. Said, you see it? Leave black people in fear, you see it? Because black people are fear is just black people are fear. And we have a God and King to deal with that. And we can deal with that amongst ourselves, said you, and sort out yourself, you see it? So and I do give thanks, you know, for the black government, you know, black supremacy rule said we, the man said black over white ever, right? We are not teaching violence, not crime. You know, we are completely against, you know, anything, you know, to deal with weapons and, you know, the destruction of people. What we are interested in is that, you know, people turn from their sinful way and to, you know, the right way of life, you know, where we can respect each other and love each other. However, God has certain weapons like earthquake, lightning and thunder, brimstone and fire, pestilence and disease that, you know, we ask him to, you know, to bring out certain times, just like how the Americans would go for them bombs and them nuclear weapon against a nation. We call for those things too against the ungodly. So that is what we want in the world with today. That, you know, if they don't give us our freedom, then we'll continue to go on our knees and pray and fasting for them, you know. And one day the whirlwind will come one day and blow them away.
Ascetic dreadlock mystics known as the sadhus have smoked ganja in India for centuries. The migration of many thousands of Hindus to the Caribbean in the 20th century brought this culture to Jamaica. Rastas believe that the smoking of ganja enjoys biblical sanction and is an aid to meditation and religious observance. According to Psalms chapter 146 verse 8, "Who covereth the heaven with clouds, and prepareth rain for the earth? Who maketh grass to grow on the mountains, and herbs for the service of men?" For many Rastas, smoking ganja copiously from cigar-sized spliffs and the holy chalice, a bamboo pipe made of a goat's horn, is a spiritual act, often accompanied by Bible study. They consider it a sacrament that cleans the body and mind, exalts the consciousness, facilitates peacefulness, and brings them closer to Jah.
I never grew up get ganja on my table. Well, if it's on tea, it's different. But I never get ganja to smoke from parents. So, I chose ganja. So every man now go say what me say, you know. But me I show you say how me see religion everybody they say a different thing. At the same time, I know say I one creator. You see what I say? So that's why I say me don't really matter which religion you come from or what. Me accept your same way. Right? I say one love straight. You see what I say?
And that's the ironic thing about Rastafari. Rastafari is not a religion. Rastafari is a way of life. And the way of life set down by the Most High, where do unto others as you like them do unto you.
Jamaica has the greatest number of churches per square mile in the world, with virtually every imaginable denomination represented. More than 80% of Jamaicans identify as Christians. Jamaicans are inordinately superstitious and firm believers in ghosts and evil spirits. Many islanders, for example, still recoil from harmless lizards as if they were ferocious dragons.
Everyone is free for them opinion and them view on this thing. Now there's a great controversy between who is God, whether it is Emperor Selassie or whether it is Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Emperor Selassie accepted Jesus Christ and was baptized in his name.
He is confused. He is definitely confused. He contradicts himself. You understand? Because first he said there wasn't a controversy, there wasn't anything. Now he said there is problem in the world.
Emperor Selassie is coming from all the lineage. Through David, through Abraham, through Solomon, which is the same lineage which Jesus Christ come through.
Jesus Christ was just from 2,000 years. He was just nothing before the BC, the AD.
Yeah, Jesus has never sit down in the throne of King David. And the Christ throne.
Jesus' throne is a higher throne. Jesus' throne is not an earthly throne. Jesus' throne is
only one throne. Only one throne.
I King, I
Lord. Throne of King David, stay further.
I respect King Selassie.
Emperor Haile Selassie. Emperor Haile Selassie. Not Jesus. 2nd of November 1930, my friend.
Jesus Christ never has been crowned kings of kings from this earth create until this time. He has no freedom. Move by yourself. King of kings and Lord, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, elect himself, a living faithful man, glorious thing about Ganja. Hear the man King Selassie the ruler, but poor Paul and them follower. King Selassie I am a ruler, but Jesus Christ I am a follower.
And you see, if you read, very good, yeah, Psalms 87 tell you, no man in earth or in heaven was found worthy to take the book and open the seventh seal. Emperor Haile Selassie was worthy.
Unlike many Christian groups that tend to stress conformity towards the powers that be, Rastas instead choose loyalty to their concept of Zion and rejection of Babylon, the power structure of modern society that has been holding the black race down for centuries by the shackles of slavery and presently through poverty, illiteracy, inequality, and trickery by the pink man. Jamaica is Babylon, where the Israelites were enslaved, and their lot is high exile in a land that cannot be reformed.
My intelligence teach me that, you know, what you see going on in the world is like a this, what these people program and playing back, you know. Yes, that's Babylon, you know. And it's a system make it like that, you know. So Babylon just do this something over and over and over and over and over and over to get the people complicated and think stupid and commit more crime and more gun. That's a problem in Kingston. And think so stupid, this American brainwash culture. So when people watch TV, people cannot think. And TV say this, people say yes, that's good, and they run for it, you know. They feel very proud and feel important to pushing a trolley in the supermarket, you know, with bad food, you know. You don't necessarily have to go and run to buy orange off a fridge. No, man. You can just go and fucking tree and get it, you know. Right here, me sit. Right here, me sit and talk to nature, and nature teach me all of those things.
My dream last night was about marijuana, a great big mountain of green. I put it in a bong and I took it in my lung and was feeling very irate. I smoked so much Cali that I thought that I had died. Two very big gates in front of me are open wide.
Rastas eat only Ital food, natural and not canned. Ital is cooked but served in the rawest form possible, without salts, preservatives, or condiments.
These are natural fruits, vegetables, these are vegetables and lamb. So I eat meat too, but not enough. I little meat all the while, you know, not enough. These are the things that I eat more regular.
Many are vegetarians and teetotalers who shun tobacco and the staples of Western consumption. Those who do eat meat are forbidden to eat pork. Drinking preferences rest with anything herbal. Liquor, milk, coffee, and soft drinks are viewed as unnatural. Ital derives from vital, a simple personalization with the emphasis on I. This is done with many words in the Rasta vocabulary to signify the unity of the speaker with all of nature. I and I means that no person is more privileged than another in the basic truth of life.
Come here, see that little herb tree here. Come check that little herb tree here. Yeah, it's a tobacco.
Rastas are not surprised that ganja is illegal, seeing it as a powerful substance that opens people's minds to the truth, something the Babylon system, so they reason, clearly does not want. They contrast their herb to liquor, which they argue makes people stupid and aggressive, and is not a part of African culture. Individual Rastas conclude that their own body is the true temple of God and see no need to build churches. Their radical doctrines challenge mainstream Christianity, referring to its hypocrisy of practicing love while justifying many forms of oppression, especially those who condemn indigenous black traditions as un-Christian. Rastas will only accept those parts of the Bible which appear to agree with their unique theological perspectives. They retraced many of the Christological debates and charged that standard translations of the Bible have been tampered with by the blonde and blue-eyed power structure.
You don't get up today and go to church on Sunday and say I'm a Rasta on Sunday. Some people, when they are in church on Sunday, they are Christians. But if you meet them outside of the church, they are not Christians anymore. They'll kill you. Yeah? Yeah. But I, as a Rasta, I have to keep my concept with me all the time.
There are about 150,000 Rastas in Jamaica and maybe 1 million worldwide. Rastas say they still endure discrimination in the birthplace of their movement, maintaining they are looked down upon for their dreadlocks and ritual use of ganja. Reggae was born in the Kingstonian ghetto of Trenchtown. Young blacks listening to radio stations from the United States. Jamaican musicians, many of them Rastas, soon blended traditional Jamaican folk music, American R&B, and jazz into ska that later developed into reggae under the influence of soul. Reggae began to enter global consciousness in the early 1970s, and Rastafari mushroomed in popularity internationally, largely due to the fame of Bob Marley, who incorporated Nyabingi songs like Rastaman Chant. Jamaican government promotions entice tourists with gentrified, dreadlocked model types on the exotic beaches, even though few Rastas work in hotels or the service industry. Restaurants offer Rasta pizza and Rasta pasta. Nestle's Jamaica took it to another level and launched a new brand called Rasta Ice.
If a woman from another country loves me, I will walk with her. I will love her back. Because you don't find true love even in your own country. You will live here, and a woman who from Jamaica don't give a fuck about you or care about you from Jamaican. And some women from Europe, Germany, Amsterdam, England, Paris, you name it. They come here and they see a little poor Rasta man going on the beach in one shorts, no shirt. And Rasta man said, "Hi, my lady, good morning." And she said, "Hi back," you know. And from there on, they become good friends. And one day they can end up getting married and living a good life.
In London or San Francisco, for example, we do not see ordinary, middle-aged women flirting with homeless young men who sit on the sidewalk begging for spare change, or taking them to dinner and nightclubs and then back home to bed.
But for the woman, I don't discuss woman. Because woman, I don't criticize. Woman is good and woman is wonderful. So I don't make discussion for woman. I make discussion about business and good time. Good vocation, take them to the plantation, take them to the waterfalls, take them to the cave, show them around, mineral springs and that kind of system to make everybody feel good.
Trust me, Rastafari is not a fool. We feel something, we know something. I have a dream, as I tell you, I have a dream. I get a call from the king, so I have to go to the king. Not a crying in the wilderness. Every time you kill another person, Rastafari heard the screaming. Every time you murder your children, Rastafari burn you for this. We don't need sins of the world. And for the youths of today, righteousness is the purification. Life, wherever you go, wherever you from, no matter what nation you are, we people, one God, one hymn, one destiny, true love.
I'm an artist, yeah, and I could sell maybe about 2 pieces of sculpture for the year, yeah. But if I am selling cocaine, I can make a lot of money here in the grill, and I would be driving a car or something like that. It's the greed of people. How do you stop a man from being greedy? People make money from people dying. People make money from gunshots. And if it's killing Africans, it's no problem. Why can't we just live and love that we have here on earth? That is Rasta, that's what we want.
Ras is an Amharic title of nobility corresponding to Duke, also meaning head. Thus, Rastafari stands for head creator. One charismatic leader, Leonard Percival Howell, developed the tenets of Rastafari, including these principles: hatred for the blonde and pink races, the complete superiority of the black race, preparation to go back to Africa, and acknowledging Emperor Haile Selassie as the supreme being and only ruler of black people. Widespread advocacy of the black supremacy doctrine was short-lived. Most Rastas since espouse a belief that racial animosities must be set aside.
There are some people who would think that, oh, it's so long ago that we don't even remember about it. It wasn't me, it was my father. But it wasn't these people in Germany that are paying back the money to the Jews now. It was Hitler and their fathers, but they still are paying. Yeah? Because it is right to pay back those people for what Hitler did to them. Is it right and prudent for us to get the money that was granted to us on reparation?
Reparation advocates point to payments to the victims of the Holocaust as precedent. But in the case of slavery, obtaining reparations is more difficult since it means proving actual harm to the slaves themselves who died long ago. Successful lawsuits against companies would be only the first step towards a larger project of reconciliation regarding slavery and the deprivation of Africans' fruits of their own labor.
Most races, Rasta, male or female,
will speak of repatriation.
Repatriation means going to Africa and entering to certain section of Africa where we can walk into heaven alive, just as we are, where we shall walk and not be weary, and I shall run and not faint, entering into heaven. If we only speak on the behalf of those who accept repatriation, not all black people think they are African.
I'm one Jamaica. Honestly, I tell this from my heart, man. I'm satisfied with my life going on in Jamaica. I'm not a greedy guy. And from you look upon my personality, you can see I'm not a materialistic person. I'm not like those Rastas running up and down in Nick with Montego Bay, Ochiport and Tony. No, I'm a total different person, you know. Yeah, man. And you can see it and know, you know. Yeah, man.
All we need is the ship, the Black Star Liner, 7, 9 or 13 mile of Black Star Liner to take us home. We are tired of staying down here in hell. I am tired now, my lord. We want to go home now. So we are asking each and everyone that come here, that have permission and have position to call upon the white world to come and give us our deliverance, because it's them who take us out of our land and carry us here.